Welcome to a session on the multiple translations of the novel Tamas. So, Tamas is a novel that deals with the partition of India in 1947, and it explores the themes such as, communal violence, politics, nationalism, and construction of national identity. The novel it is known for its critical perspectives on these issues, and it often uses irony and humor to often resist this glorification of nationalism. It also questions the homogenizing tendencies involved in the creation of nation states. So, uh, Tamas is one of those rare Hindi novels. Now, coming to the aspect of translation, Tamas is one of those rare Hindi novels that has been translated not just once or twice, but it has translated thrice. So the first translation was by the unfaltering translator of Hindi and Urdu, J. Rathan, which was published in the year 1981. The second translation, however, Visham Sahni, the author himself, felt that the translation was not, it was not conveying many parts of the original novel. So the second was taken up by Visham Sahni himself, who came to realize that there were serious problems with Ratan translation, and the translated version by Sahni was published in the year 2001. So Ratan's translation is marked by frequent omissions, inaccuracies, and outright flights of fancies, while Sahni's translation corrects these. He was unable to resist the impulse common among authors translating their own writing. So this is one thing that has been said, that while it was translated by Sahni, there were many modifications made to the original story, being the author himself. So consequently, changes appear here and there. And such rewrites or transcreations have an intrinsic value as literary works, especially to attain more insight into the author's attitude about the text. So, we see the areas where Sahni felt that certain things were lacking, but which were not, conveyed in the original text. So it could also be argued that the mini series Tamas broadcast in Doordarshan was a third translation. So there are multiple translations that happened in Tamas, and we may consider that this making of it into a Tamas into a mini series can be considered as a third translation. Nihalni did make some major changes in the plot, uh, you know, um, but very often he stuck very strongly to accuracy, and his recreations of the street scenes and elaborate costuming were an amazing boon to this translator in helping visualize the articles of clothing and architectural features. And in the novel, District Magistrate's wife Lisa, she is disordered and drunk, but in the mini series, we can see her quite sensible when it comes to certain things. And she is in the novel, she is not much of a sympathetic character, but in the mini series, she is. Um, though Richard tells her nothing and she might drink one too many gin or tonics at the cocktail time in the novel, in the series, she sees through his chilly disregard for humanity in general. And there is a passage describing the dining room of the British administrator Richard. Sahni writes that there was a tashtari in the middle of the table arranged with roses. However, it evokes confusion to the reader as a tashtari was a saucer. So this is one aspect of translation that was, considered very important. The question arises, how could roses be arranged in a saucer? So this is an example of how Sahni describes the saucer scene. Arm in arm, they proceeded towards the dining room. It was Lisa's favorite room. In its center stood a big circular dining table of black mahogany. A lampshade hanging low from the ceiling right above the table shed its light onto the copper vase filled with red roses. The room spoke of Richard's taste, and Lisa was well aware if she was to live with Richard, she would have to adapt herself to his idiosyncrasies. Okay, so here um, the extent or depth of Richard's preferences of architecture is not quite evident. This is was a translation by Bishop Sahni. But moving on to the translation, the fourth translation and the final translation by um, Daisy Rockwell. It is a more descriptive manner in which this particular part is described. So, uh, it is in more elaborate details that certain things are described in the last and final version of translation by Daisy Rockwell. That's it. Thank you.